Marvel needs to stop making Spider-Man movies, or at least stop changing actors so often. Man, some people won't even acknowledge that Blade is a part of the MCU. How can so many people be in love with the MCU? Everybody knows the latest Fantastic Four was garbage. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy SPJ, back with a new mini-series. What is the MCU? So, I love geek and nerd culture, and a huge part of that culture is comic books and comic book characters. Given the time that it is, with the MCU just turning 8 a couple days ago, and today being the anniversary of the first Avengers movie, I figured it's time to clear up a lot of misconceptions. Uh, I'm in a myriad of geek, nerd, comic related groups on Facebook, and people don't understand the MCU. It's so amazing that even though it's 8 years old, people still don't get what it is. So, for those of you who have some confusion, and for those who are just trying to get into the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe thing and see what it's all about, this video is for you. So, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is Marvel's big screen version of their comic universe. Due to several factors that I'll probably get into in a different video, they sold the rights to some of their most popular heroes to several different movie studios. Eventually, Marvel saw that the superhero movies, and even worse, the superhero movies that featured their characters, were performing extremely well at the box office. They decided that they wanted a piece of the pie. They wanted to get in on action. So, A.V. Arad, the head of Marvel's film division at the time, he decided that something needed to be done. His second in charge was Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige realized that they still had the rights to the core members of the Avengers, and he envisioned a plan where they would treat their movies like the comics and have standalone franchises that then come together every now and then for mega events. Soon after they acquired the proper funding to make this vision come true, Arad resigned because he didn't think the strategy would work. This left Feige as the head honcho. So, before we go any further, let's talk about these rights and what they actually mean for the MCU. The first movie in the MCU is Iron Man, which was released in 2008. So, when trying to determine what is MCU and what is not MCU, you can automatically exclude any movie that was released before that time. So, Blade, not MCU. Marvel character, sure, not MCU. Ghost Rider, not MCU. Um, so, as far as the rights, Fox owns the rights to the X-Men and Fantastic Four franchises and the characters that are inside of those universes. Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man and the characters that exist in that universe. There are some exceptions with the rights. For instance, the argument was made that Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch were just as much a part of the Avengers as they were a part of the X-Men. So they were able to be used in both cinematic universes. Another example, which may have surprised some fans that aren't really that heavy into the actual comic books, is seeing the Kingpin in Marvel's Daredevil show. Because if the only exposure you had is the cartoons, and some comics, you would have seen Kingpin as a Spider-Man villain. But some would argue that he's actually more of a Daredevil villain. But he was able to be in the MCU despite also being a Spider-Man villain. Anyway, Sony recently made a deal with Marvel to allow them to use Spider-Man in the MCU, and he will also be in Captain America Civil War, which comes out in a couple of days, and he'll be in his own standalone movie entitled Homecoming. That will be a part of the MCU. However, every appearance of Spider Man that has happened to this point, as of the day that I'm recording this video, is not MCU. It's not. I've seen rumors that the Fantastic Four rights may revert back to Marvel soon. Not sure if that's going to happen or not, but the reason all this is even relevant, is even happening, is because Marvel was in a bad position that kind of forced them to make bad decisions with their characters. According to everything I've seen, the length of these contracts are basically infinite as long as the studios that have the rights continue to put out movies every certain amount of years. Then they get to keep the rights. I do, however, think that one day we may eventually see a movie sometime in the future where the Marvel Cinematic Universe will be able to tell an epic story that will have all of their major players involved in some way. Whether it be through some shared deal similar to the partnership that Marvel has with Sony, or whether it's a situation where the studio doesn't use a certain character for a certain amount of time and the rights revert back to Marvel. Whatever way it happens, I think that it will happen. So, what do you guys think? Will we ever get to see Wolverine and Spider Man on the same screen? For my fellow negs that are a bit more into the comics, how great would it be to see the Illuminati on screen? We already have some of them established in the Marvel Universe, in the MCU. Is there any hero or villain that you would like to see added to the MCU? Uh, Answer all those questions below in the comments. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and end this video here. I just wanted to give, a quick intro. And be on the lookout for the next part of the mini series where I'll talk more about the winning formula that Kevin Feige and the other guys in charge have come up with that has led to the MCU's dominance of the big screen in the last 8 years. Make sure you remember to like this video if you liked it, comment, share, subscribe, tell your friends. And I'm SPJ. I will talk to you guys later. Peace.